195 pounds. He's a big fella, and he can get under the rim, up above the rim with the best of them. That one travels behind half court, but they'll say it's tipped off of a white jersey. And we'll have a foul on Jalen Norman, his first, the Crusaders' third, and getting into a bit of foul trouble here early in the first half, as we're just 2¼ minutes gone in this contest. Driving in is Medley. Can't convert at the rim. Point blank look for Donaldson, and another offensive rebound. Trying to throw it off of a white jersey to the rim again, and finally Justin Washington cleans it up. Beckmeyer quickly across half court. Brayton Adams on the far side. Team's leading three-point shooter. Washington finds Beckmeyer down below the rim. He'll kick it out. Washington mid-range to Adams, who'll try his first three of the game. Way off the mark. And the Statesman out in transition. Long three-point attempt there. And that's good from Corbin Medley, senior out of Rogersville, Missouri. Medley making it just his 6th start of the year. Not a great three-point shooter, makes 30% of them. Jalen Norman at the rim, cutting it back to a 1-point game. And Medley makes his first attempt there. The Statesman lead cut back to 1, however. Back to Medley behind the back. Floater from the elbow off the glass and good. And the Statesmen are back up by 3. This team 7 points early already. They've yet to be held under 90 points in a game this year. That means a foul off the ball on Washington. Washington 2 quick fouls, and he'll have to come out, and Marcus Miller will replace him. And that is not a good start for the Crusaders. Their leading scorer, Justin Washington, will head to the bench for probably the majority of this first half, but Marcus Miller did well in relief of him in the Crusaders' 77-62 victory over College of the Ozarks. Miller had 8 points on 4 of 5 shooting against the Bobcats in that win. Medley on the baseline, and he's fouled by Beckmeyer. And Coach Jenkins unhappy with the call. That's 5 fouls already for the Crusaders with 6 minutes gone here in the first half. And you can already tell that these officials are going to call the ticky-tacky fouls. A 3-point shot from Michael Donaldson and his Statesman squad. Already out shooting hot, blazing hot. 4 out of 8 shooting to open up this contest. With Adams, he drives the baseline on Medley, and Medley will be called with the foul. If you know that they're going to call the touchy fouls, that means you need to get under the rim and force contact and get to the free throw line. Crusaders not a great free throw shooting squad, making 62% of their free throws this season. But they've got some guys that can shoot free throws if you can get them to the line. Beckmeyer picks up his dribble. He'll go down low to Miller, who backs in, turns around, jump hook, and finds the bottom of the net. Statesman out in transition. Quickly trying to score fast, and they can score fast. That's Brandon Trotter off the bench. Makes that mid-range jumper. And you just look at these 5 guys on the floor for William Penn. Just a physical-looking bunch of guys. Play strong, they play fast. They've already got 12 points here, just 5 minutes into the first half. Norman misses that one. And the Statesman will move in transition again. 3-point look there off the back iron, off the hands of Darius Wheeler. Now the Crusaders have got to try to counter here on these transition attempts from William Penn. Norman gets to the rim, can't find the bottom of the net. And the Statesman out in transition again. Trying to lay that one off the trotter, but it's picked off, and the Crusaders back out on the offensive end. Beckmeyer in the corner. And they'll switch off. Beckmeyer picks up his dribble. This is Scott Blakesley, far side. Beckmeyer down to Miller. Backs in. Turnaround jump hook. Rattles home. Marcus Miller playing tall. 6'7" senior out of Republic. 4 points here in relief of Justin Washington. Terrell Thompson across half court. Backing in his Wheeler. He'll kick it out. Now Shaw from the elbow. Knocks it down. William Penn with a 6-point advantage. 13:35 left in the first. Miller on the perimeter. He'll pass it off to Adams. Adams has attempted one of the 2 3-point shots for the Crusaders. Beckmeyer will try this one. Blakesley tips it around and ends up with Norman. Beckmeyer tries another 3. That one too strong. Now he's empty on his first 2 3-point attempts. Transition basketball, that's the name of the game for the Statesmen. Early in the shot clock, a 3-pointer there from Donaldson. Off the side of the rim. 1:13 to play in the first half. Crusaders in foul trouble. 5 fouls early in the first half of play, but they've been able to limit those attempts over the past couple minutes. Nice find down low to Beckmeyer, reverse layup. He goes past his counterpart, Terrell Thompson. And the Crusaders cut it to 4. Got to be able to hang with this high-flying Statesman offense. If you're going to stay in these games, you got to be able to score with them. That one from Dominique Shaw misses. This is Jalen Norman, picks up his dribble. Now to Scott Blakesley, trying to get to the rim, but a double team picked up, so he dribbles out. Adams, right side. Beckmeyer, a long 3-point attempt from NBA range. Splash! Dylan Beckmeyer cuts it to 1. And now a 3-point answer attempt from Thompson. Trying for the offensive rebound is Shaw. He goes right into Marcus Miller. And we'll have a timeout by the Statesmen. Full timeout, 16-13, William Penn lead. We'll step aside. You're listening to Crusader Basketball here on the Evangel Digital Network.
How could I possibly be expected to go without Domino's on a day like this? Alexa, ask Domino's to place my easy order.
Ordering Domino's.
Life moves pretty fast. If you can't track your pizza, you could miss it.
Order 2 medium 2-topping pizzas for just $5.99 each and track them on your favorite device.
I've been waiting for days to come like this, better than ever before. And now I know there's more.
Wherever you've been, whatever you've been through, we have a warm welcome waiting for you at more than 325 hotels around the world. Book today at DoubleTree.com. DoubleTree by Hilton, where the little things mean everything.
Back out of the break, the Crusaders down by 3 to the number 3 team in the country, William Penn. 11:52 to play in the first half. And Marcus Miller could be the focal point of this Crusader team for the large part of this half, as Justin Washington has picked up 2 early fouls and has sent him to the bench, where he will likely sit for the majority of this first half. Luke Call and Chandler Lyon fresh in with the Crusaders, giving them some fresh legs. Kick out to Adams. He tries a 3, no good. A couple Statesmen flying in for that rebound. They'll pull it down. Into the basket, kick out. 3-point attempt left short from Javante Carlton. A foul on the Statesmen, that's their 3rd. That one on Michael Donaldson. Javante Carlton fresh in the game for the Statesmen, a 6'4" junior out of Richmond, California. averaging 14.4 points per game for the Statesmen. He'll match up against Braden Adams on the defensive end. Miller draws the screen. Norman step back, fade away. And it falls in the hands of Brandon Trotter. Driving in, floater. Terrell Thompson extends the Statesman lead back out to 15. Jalen Norman trying to work in transition, gets in the lane, kicks it out to Miller, now to Luke Call. Crosses over, picks up his dribble. Being harassed by Thompson, and it's picked off by Shaw. Shaw looking for some help. Thompson gets it back, and he's fouled. Send him to the free throw line. They'll try to attempt the three, or finish off the three-point play. Terrell Thompson at the free throw line. Comes in shooting 71% from the charity stripe, completes the old-fashioned three-point play. And just like that, the Statesmen take an 8-point lead. Pass down low, intended for Marcus Miller, picked off. And the Statesmen back in transition again, where they love to work. High flying, but no good. Javante Carlton. And the Crusaders have got to push on these transitions where they can get back out and exploit the weakness on the defensive side. That one tipped around, and Carlton brings it down. Now Thompson, he's got numbers. Flying into the rim, missing the dunk, however, was Donaldson, but an offensive rebound. Now getting to the rim, and a hard foul on Brandon Trotter will send him to the free throw line. That's the Crusaders' 7th. And as we're right at the midway point here in the first, the Statesmen will be shooting free throws the rest of the way out. And with the way this team works in transition, you can imagine they draw a lot of fouls. And their previous contest against Peru State, there were a lot of fouls for both of those squads. And look up that free throw attempt margin for both of those teams in that contest. As Trotter makes 1 out of 2. Statesman back out on offense. This is Carlton. Now over to Thompson, calling for a man to move, looking down low to Trotter. Trotter creates space on Lyon, turns around off the glass. And a slick move there from Brandon Trotter. Finally finding it, there were 76 free throw attempts combined in William Penn's previous matchup against Peru State. That lob attempt, they can't find the rim, intended for Carlton. Now over to Clark Brewington in the corner, three-point attempt no good. And cleaning up the rebound is Chandler Lyon. The second chance opportunity no good, and the Statesmen will continue to work in transition. Terrell Thompson can't make it coast to coast. And Luke Call pulls it down. The Statesmen are up by just 8. It could be more if not for some errors on the offensive end where they try to be flashy, trying to throw down some dunks, trying to find some lobs. Lyon goes over to the defender, can't get the home court roll. William Penn looking more like a track team in this opening half than a basketball team, but a carry there with Javante Carlton. Turn it over back to the Crusaders. It's the 5th turnover for William Penn. Beckmeyer walks it across half court. Gives it to Call. Now Beckmeyer back with it near side. Brewington tries another three. Splash! Clark Brewington cuts it back to within 5. Brewington has seen his playing time diminish this season as he played off the bench last year as well. But with the addition of some nice transfers, some red shirts, getting their first minutes this season, Brewington has not seen the court as much as he did last year, but making the best of his time, knocking down that three-pointer and a foul near side on Chandler Lyon, his first. And I believe that will result in free throws. Yes, it will, for Brandon Trotter. (24-19), William Penn lead. Again, they've not been held under 90 points at all this season, but the Crusaders doing a pretty good job of hanging with them. The Statesmen shooting 45.5% from the floor. And the front end of the 1-and-1 good from Brandon Trotter. Trotter now the tied leading scorer in this game, with Clark Brewington and Dominique Shaw with 6 points. Donaldson will check out. And Dominique Shaw back in, some fresh legs as well. A 6-foot sophomore out of Newton, Iowa, Tyler Wood in the game, but the second half of the 1-and-1, Brandon Trotter misses. And so the Statesman lead will remain at 6. In the corner for Luke Call, he'll try a three, splash! Luke Call cuts it back to 3, and the Crusaders are right back in this. Call knocks down his first field goal attempt of the game. And the Crusaders holding strong with this William Penn squad. 3-point attempt here with the answer. That's Tyler Wood. And it's back out to a 6-point Statesman lead. It's been a lot of punch, counter punch early. Crusaders trying to make good on their answer attempts, and they find Luke Call cutting under the rim. And an assist for Clark Brewington. He's put in some nice minutes as Coach Jenkins has to dig even deeper in his bench with a couple players in Jalen Norman and Justin Washington getting 2 fouls. A bucket there for the Statesmen extends their lead back out to 6. Another 3-point attempt from Luke Call. Splash, Luke Call, a perfect 2 out of 2 for the Crusaders, and they cut it back to 3. You gotta stay hot shooting to stay with this Statesman team. A 3-point answer, no good out of Thompson, and the Crusaders can tie it up with another 3-pointer here. Beckmeyer in transition. Drives to the baseline, now he'll dribble out. Kick out to Call. Call looking for some space. Turn around in the corner, a long 2, crawls over the front iron, and a good rebound from Brandon Trotter. And now the Statesman will slow it down. You see some heavy breathers for William Penn. Just under 6 to play in the first half. Wood in the corner, leaves it short. And it's the little brother of Scott Blakesley, Isaac Blakesley, with the rebound. Beckmeyer walks it across, slows it down, finds Blakesley on the baseline. Backs out to Call. Back out to Blakesley. 3-pointer, splash! We've got a tie ball game. And a timeout from William Penn. Let's take a break. 30 points apiece, 5:26 to play in the half. Crusaders hanging with the number 3 team in the country.
Inside everyone are gifts, interests, and passions that were put there for a purpose. A divine purpose that manifests in the discovery of one's life calling. At Evangel University, we invite discovery of that greatest version of you that is being called to service for the greater good. Fortified by spirit and knowledge, our students develop in confidence as they discover their unique callings. Former students are enriched as they share their wisdom and support with new generations. At Evangel, the greater you starts with a greater you.
The Crusaders have been relatively cold for the majority of this first half shooting, but after a couple of big three-pointers out of Luke Call and Isaac Blakesley, the Crusaders tie this back up at 30 points apiece. Terrell Thompson cuts to the rim to get the Statesmen back on top. And it's 2 games in a row now that this William Penn squad has been faced with adversity. Last week picking up their first loss of the year to Peru State. And another team trying to challenge the number 3 team in the country. Crusaders holding strong with the Statesmen. And the Statesmen handed their 4th foul of the half. They've done well to stay out of foul trouble. The Crusaders not so much, with 8 fouls in the first half of play. Luke Call tried to pass it down low to Lyon. Lyon thought it was a shot. That's a turnover. And the Statesmen back out in transition. On the baseline, picked off. Blakesley ends up with it. Nice find. Clark Brewington is playing some fine basketball here in this first half. In relief of Jalen Norman and Justin Washington, have some guys that don't get to play a lot. They're finally getting some loaves. Brewington tries a 3. Splash! Bringing down the house! Clark Brewington gives the Crusaders their first lead of the game. And now he'll match up on the defensive end against Trotter. Brewington, hands up, kick out, a long 2 for Shaw, rattles out. Carlton with the rebound, Brewington with a block. But Trotter with another second chance opportunity puts the Statesmen back up by a point. 4 minutes to play in the half. The Crusaders at 3-8 on the season, hanging with the number 3 team in the country. Beckmeyer with a floater, that finds nothing. And it's out of bounds. Off of him. Scott Blakesley, Braden Adams checking back in. Scott Blakesley gets his little brother Isaac. Braden Adams gets Luke Call, who leaves. Perfect 2 of 2 from 3-point range, 3 out of 4 from the floor with 8 points. Brewington's been the star of the game, however, 9 points, 3 out of 4 shooting off the bench for the Crusaders, and just hit a clutch 3-pointer to put the Crusaders up. But the Statesmen answered back to take a 1-point lead, and now a clutch 3 out of Dominique Shaw to put the Statesmen up by 4. Evangel's got to stay calm and show some poise here. They want to stay in this game. That's a 5-0 run for the Statesmen. Beckmeyer picks up his dribble, gives it in the corner. And they'll say Luke Call dribbled on the base. No, they'll say he was fouled on the baseline, I believe. A push on Corbin Medley. That's his 3rd, and he'll have to check out. And that'll bring in Darius Wheeler. 20 put back on the shot clock. Beckmeyer to inbound it. He finds Braden Adams in the corner. Adams drives the baseline, goes over a defender, and converts at the rim. Back to a 2-point game. And William Penn again, quickly out in transition. Terrell Thompson gets a screen, picks up his dribble, being harassed by Brewington. He'll pass out of it. Wheeler kicks it out. Thompson, pass down low, way up above the rim. That's Trotter. And he extends it back out to a 4-point game. 2:45 to play in the half. Beckmeyer on the perimeter. Goes over to Luke Call. Call being guarded by Wheeler. Man defense for the Statesmen. Brewington top of the key. Adams near side. Drives in the lane. Trying to create some space, and he's fouled. That on Darius Wheeler, his 1st. Statesman's 5th. And that'll send Braden Adams to the free throw line. Braden Adams, the team's 2nd leading scorer, averaging 13.5 points per game. He's got just 2 so far today. But he's at the free throw line where he shoots 71% on the season, and he makes the front end. Chandler Lyon will check in for Clark Brewington and gets a round of applause from the home section there behind the Crusaders bench. Adams with a chance to cut it back to 2 here with a make. And he does. Adams a perfect 2 of 2 from the free throw line, give him 4 points on the day. And Penn. Out in transition again. Carlton, floater off the glass and good. Adams took a spill there, no foul to be heard of, and the Statesmen go back up by 4. Punch, counter punch basketball once more. Teams trading baskets. Who will end the half with the momentum? Over to Adams in the corner. He drives the baseline, creates contact, and the foul. Braden Adams back to the free throw line to try to complete the old-fashioned three-point play, and he can make it a one-point ball game as the Crusaders are now in the bonus the rest of the way out. 2:08 to play. And Adams rattles it home. We've got a one-point ball game. Crusaders will be staying at home over their Christmas break. They will be hosting the Assemblies of God Classic against Sagu and Vanguard, where they will host during the month of December before returning to conference play on January 3rd against Avila, and then back home against Central Methodist on January 6th. Foul there on the play. I believe that was on Beckmeyer. That's the Crusaders' 9th. The 1-and-1 coming up for the Statesmen. A shooting foul, rather. I apologize. That's Terrell Thompson at the free throw line, but he misses the front end. And now Dominique Shaw will check out. And the second miss, but an offensive board by Wheeler. Fresh into the game, Michael Donaldson back in for the Statesmen with a fresh 30 for William Penn. Driving in is Wheeler. Darius Wheeler gets to the rim, creates all kinds of contact. The Crusaders looking for a travel. They won't get it, but it will remain a one-possession game. A three-pointer could tie it up for the Crusaders. Adams, top of the key, drives in. Gives it to Beckmeyer. Down low to Lyon. Creates contact. Can't finish the shot, but he'll head to the free throw line to shoot 2. Braden Adams with his 3 makes, kept the Crusaders perfect from the charity stripe. Now Chandler Lyon will have a pair. Try to cut it back to a one-point game, and he makes the first. Chandler Lyon, one of the better shooters from the floor for this Crusader squad, came into the game shooting 62% field goal percentage. From the free throw line, Chandler Lyon makes just 55% of his attempts and goes 1 out of 2 there to leave it at a 2-point game. Fresh face in for the Statesmen. This is a 6'6" sophomore out of Lexington, Missouri, Isaac Sanders. Spot up three-pointer there, no good, and a nice, strong rebound out of Luke Call. During 1 minute to play, Scott Blakesley goes up, misses that jump hook, and the Statesmen out in transition again. Terrell Thompson goes through the double team, loses the handle on it, no travel called. That looked like a walk off the glass, banks it home. Brandon Trotter makes it a 2-possession game. Steve Jenkins on the far side, none too happy about the call. Beckmeyer steps into a 3, no good. Long rebound, cleaned up by Carlton. Carlton behind the back, Beckmeyer tries to pick it off. Carlton being harassed. And the Statesmen will settle in. 8-second differential from the game clock to the shot clock, and the Statesmen will hold it. 20 seconds to play. William Penn ahead by 4. Trying to finish the half strong, extend their lead. 5 to shoot. Thompson in the lane. At the glass, no good. Cleaning up the rebound. Another second chance opportunity. Trotter once more. Goes over the rim. Full court heave by Beckmeyer, no good, and the Statesmen will head to the locker room with a 6-point advantage. Got to clean up those rebounds. William Penn out-rebounding the Crusaders by 10+ and by 4 on the offensive glass. Let's take a break. We'll recap the first half when we return. You're listening to Crusader Basketball here on the Evangel Digital Network.
Barbecue is casual. It's friends, family. It's an event. Everybody at Rib Crib is living the barbecue life. Every Rib Crib has wood-burning smokers rolling 24/7. You'll want to get here before it's gone. Rib Crib. Keep it saucy.
What the NAIA has figured out through all their character and leadership programs is let's develop these players as men and women of character, and by doing so, these players will ultimately reach their ceiling.
These are Domino's all-new Parmesan-dusted, garlic-seasoned, and cinnamon-sprinkled bread twists. How did we come up with such a clever name? We'll never tell. Choose any 2 of Domino's new bread twists or medium 2-topping pizzas for $5.99 each.
One half of the books here, the last conference game for the Crusaders of the 2017 portion of the campaign. Evangels opened up the season 3-8, but they're on a 2-game winning streak, and they're trying to contend with the number 3 team in the country, the William Penn Statesmen, who have just a 6-point lead here at the half. The Crusaders knew coming into this game that they had to keep the field goal percentage up because the Statesmen squad that averages 106.5 points a game. They haven't been held under 90 points in a contest all year. Would be scoring quick, a high-flying offense that loves to work in transition. The Evangel's been staying with them, shooting 42% from the floor, while William Penn has shot just shy of 50%, 41 attempts. The biggest difference in the game is rebounding margin. William Penn has out-rebounded the Crusaders 29-16. in the first half. If you even cut that number in half, you've got to believe that the Crusaders could potentially have a lead in this ball game. A good example right there at the end of the half. 3 offensive rebounds in a row for the Statesmen resulted in more second chance points. They had 6 in the first half. Both teams taking care of the basketball. 6 turnovers for the Statesmen, 5 for Evangel. And it's been a very solid ball game out of both of these teams, and a basketball game that has been fun to watch here in the first half. You make the argument that the star player for the Crusaders in that first half off the bench was the sophomore Clark Brewington. Came in and scored 9 points on 3 out of 4 shooting from three-point range, at a clutch three-pointer that put the Crusaders up by 1 at one point, but the Statesmen stormed back and took a lead, extended it out to 6 at the half. Where we sit right now, your game's leading scorer, Brandon Trotter, 6 out of 7 from the floor with 14 points and 8 rebounds. The game saw the score tied 2 times in the first half with 2 lead changes. But the Crusaders had not scored, or have not scored, in the past 2 minutes and 8 seconds of play, which allowed the Statesmen to jump out to the 47-41 lead that they sit at right now. We'll take an extended break, get you set for the second half. When we return, Statesmen with a 47-41 advantage. You're listening to Crusader Basketball here on the Evangel Digital.
To say we are more than a credit union and do more than just banking would be an understatement. Every day we do the ordinary that then becomes the extraordinary. Every day you ship products all over the world. Every day you serve hundreds of people. Every day you give the biggest surprises. Every day you launch a new business venture. Every day, you give peace of mind. Every day, you make dreams come true. Every day, we make more than just loans, and we deal in more than just transactions. Every day, our members make investments that will last a lifetime. Every day, we do this, and much more, because every day, we provide people with so much more than banking. Whether it's providing education through scholarships, providing hope in the moments after a disaster, or partnering to plant new churches. Every day, AGCU is committed to using our assets to change people's lives. What may seem like a simple decision to be a member at AGCU is so much more than you can imagine. Every day, you change the world one transaction at a time.
Come be a kid for a while with a Boot Daddy Concrete, only at Andy's.
When was the last time you looked at Central Bank? We mean really looked at what's possible when you combine leading-edge technology with a bank who can make important decisions locally and who can help you turn what's possible into what's real. Take a new look at the world of possibilities with Central Bank. Strong roots, endless possibilities.
Since 1994, Convoy of Hope has been bringing help and hope to those who are impoverished and suffering throughout the world. In doing so, we've served more than 70 million people in more than 100 nations.
We have the power in our hands to transform the lives of thousands and thousands of families across the United States and around the world. And when people move from hopelessness to hope, there is absolutely no limit to what can be accomplished in their lives.
Our impact is on level with bigger organizations. Thanks to our strategic corporate partners and a dynamic worldwide network, we're able to feed nearly 150,000 children and their families in 10 nations and rush emergency food and supplies to some of the most far-flung places on Earth. We also hold community outreach events, train women to start businesses, and help farmers in developing nations increase their yields. Some have referred to us as one of the world's best-kept secrets. That depends on your definition of a secret.
Hey guys, it's Zendaya here.
Hi, I'm Drew Brees.
My brothers and I have worked with Convoy of Hope for a while now.
I'm playing for Convoy of Hope. They're an amazing organization. They feed a child in need for $120 for an entire year, which is unbelievable.
Convoy of Hope has done so much for these kids and for these families, these farmers.
The international relief organization Convoy of Hope started rolling its trucks to prepare for a response.
A Missouri-based charity called Convoy of Hope is here handing out coats, blankets, food, water, real help for real victims.
And since Thursday at midnight, you have raised, brace yourselves, $250,000.
Major corporations, celebrities, and influencers from both the private and public sectors have strategically aligned with Convoy of Hope because they believe, like we do, that no child, mother, or father should go hungry or have to suffer under the crushing weight of poverty.
So much help from Convoy of Hope.
Not the first time we've seen them in action.
Yeah.
They are there when you need them.
Can you tell me what it means to be safe?
It means to protect yourself and know what to do.
What's something you do to stay safe?
I don't talk to strangers. I never, ever went out into the street, ever.
I always buckle up.
I know when to call 911 during an emergency.
What about bicycle safety?
I wear my helmet when I ride a bike, so if you fall off, you don't get like a concussion or something wrong with your brain.
Tell me about CPR.
What is CPR mean?
And you push down on their chest like that
to keep the blood going through their heart.
Tell me about fire safety.
If you hear that noise, that means fire. Call 911. You have to crawl because the smoke rises up. If there's a fire, we all know to go to the front yard.
Get more safety tips at coxhealth.com.
Be safe, everyone.
How could I possibly be expected to go without Domino's on a day like this? Alexa, ask Domino's to place my easy order.
Ordering Domino's.
Life moves pretty fast. If you can't track your pizza,
You could miss it.
Order 2 medium 2-topping pizzas for just $5.99 each and track them on your favorite device.
One half of play remaining. The William Penn Statesmen with a 47-41 lead over your Evangel Crusaders. The Statesmen, the number 3 team in the country. Evangel trying to knock them off just a couple days after Peru State handed them their first loss of the season. Statesmen will have possession out of the break. And 20 minutes of basketball left in conference play for the Crusaders in the 2017 portion of their season. Biggest story of the first half, the Crusaders were out-rebounded 29-16 in the first half. Early foul out of the gate. Shooting foul on Braden Adams, his second. Crusaders first of the half, and they're already getting in more foul trouble right where they left off from in half number 1. As Terrell Thompson makes the front end and makes the back end as well. Statesman with an 8-point lead. Up ahead to Justin Washington, can't handle the pass, but pulls it back down, draws a double team. And he'll dribble out of it. Beckmeyer cuts off the glass and it falls. Beckmeyer. An opportunity for a three-point play. He could cut it back to a 5-point deficit. Beckmeyer, one of the better free throw shooters on this Crusaders squad, 75% on the season. And he completes a three-point play. It's a 5-point ball game. First couple minutes here as Beckmeyer tries to get a steal, but he's gonna have to hurry back. Statesmen have numbers. Shaw drives in, kicks it out. Thompson with a wide open three, and it rattles out. But off of a white jersey, it'll stay with the Statesmen. First couple minutes of this half will really be a tone setter for the Crusaders. You're playing the number 3 team in the country. It averages 106.5 points per game. You can't let it get away from you even a little bit. And they make a bucket there off the set piece. That was Corbin Medley. Beckmeyer flies in a wild shot. The rebound cleaned up. Playing quickly again is William Penn. Shaw to the rim. And that'll make it a 9-point game. 4 unanswered points for the Statesmen. Scott Blakesley passes it down to Jalen Norman. Norman backs in. Turnaround jump hook, back iron no good. Braden Adams puts in the second chance opportunity. That's the Crusaders' first second chance bucket of the game. And it's back to a 7-point deficit. Coach Jenkins has gone back to a starting lineup. Beckmeyer pulls down that rebound on the missed three-pointer by Medley. Justin Washington and Jalen Norman both went out early in the first with a couple fouls, but the backups in relief for them played very well and even took the lead at one point in that first half. Washington spots up for a jumper. Scott Blakesley flies in and is handed a foul. That's the Crusaders' second. Blakesley's first. And it's going to take very clean, probably a nearly perfect second half of play to knock off this very talented William Penn squad. Darius Wheeler kicks in the corner for Thompson. Thompson drives in, creates all kinds of space, and lays it in. Statesmen back up by 9. Beckmeyer walks it across. He's got 8 points, 1 bucket away from double-digit scoring and an assist away from a double-double. Splash, Dylan Beckmeyer hits the three-pointer, give him 11. Leading scorer for the Crusaders and a timeout out of Coach Jenkins. 30-second timeout will stay here. 55 to 49 point William Penn advantage. Again, Evangel continues its December home stretch. And they remain at home, hosting the Assemblies of God Classic on December 29th and 30th against Sagu and Vanguard. Taking on William Penn here in the final conference game of 2017. The Statesmen are coming off of a 33-4 season where they reached the NAIA National Semifinals, falling to national champion Texas Wesleyan. After picking up their first loss against Peru State earlier this week, they were 3 wins away from matching their best start in program history. And in a battle here against the Crusaders, Washington climbs high to pull down that rebound. Just a second of the game. He's yet to make a bucket this afternoon. Beckmeyer with a hot hand, thinks about the three, won't take it. And now Scott Blakesley is fouled by Corbin Medley, and I believe that's Medley's 4th. It is. And he's probably going to be forced to the bench. Medley, one of the Statesmen's better three-point shooters, shooting 30% on the season. 1 out of 2, 7 points in the game thus far, and he'll head to the bench. Jumper there. Braden Adams cuts it back to 6. And it's Javante Carlton to relieve Medley here. And it's out to Thompson. Now in the corner, Carlton spins in. Look at that move and a travel. They'll say he walked with it. Carlton not happy with the call. But a William Penn turnover nonetheless. Just their 7th of the game, however. 3 minutes gone in the second half. Beckmeyer to Blakesley. Mid-range jumper from the baseline. Cuts it back to 2. And we've got a ball game once more. Darius Wheeler spins it down low. Backing in, going over the defender. Count the basket. Washington with his 3rd foul. And the and one opportunity for Michael Donaldson. Washington now with 3. A very emotional player, unhappy with the call. And the Statesmen go back up by 5, and they do with the make. Washington has to gather himself. Oftentimes lets his emotions get the best of him. The talented ball player with no baskets to start this matchup. Cutting, Brayden Adams, and the assist for Washington. The Statesmen out in transition, they've got numbers. Here's Thompson, rattles it home. This team works so quickly, so efficiently. As I said in the first half, looks more like a track team at times. And they'll say Washington walked. Stutter step there at the top of the key before cutting to the rim. And it looks like Coach Jenkins digs into the bench, and he'll send Washington back to have a seat. Leaves the game averaging 15.9 points a game and 9.2 rebounds. Having an off night today. No points and 2 rebounds for the true freshman out of Springfield. Dominique Shaw leaves it short. Scott Blakesley with the board. He's got 4 rebounds. Beckmeyer in transition. Brewington tries to find Beckmeyer cutting to the rim, and he misses him. The 7th Crusaders turnover. 4:10 expired in the first half. It's a 5-point Statesman lead. Crusaders trying to get above 500 in the conference. Pass down low to Donaldson. Strong at the rim. And William Penn up by 7 now. Brewington on the far side finds a cutting Brayden Adams. He dribbles out. Now the reset top of the key with Scott Blakesley. Norman near side, drives in on Carlton. Spins in off the glass. No foul called. And the Statesmen back in transition. The Crusaders working slowly to get back on defense, but a turnover. And now Beckmeyer will slow it down. The Crusaders have had a tough time working in transition themselves. To Adams, and he's blocked. Up ahead to Terrell Thompson. He's got a streaking Michael Donaldson who flies in and slams it home. And the William Penn lead is back out to 9, equaling their largest of the contest. Crusaders need to settle in here, keep the emotions in check. Some clutch shots and a foul there on Carlton. That's his first. Statesman's 3rd of the half. Beckmeyer to inbound it. He's got 11. They'll get it into Adams. The Crusaders' 2 leading scorers with 11 and 13 points. Beckmeyer tries a long 3, rattles out. And it ends up with Dominique Shaw. Shaw in transition has it poked away. Oh, and they'll send it back to the Crusaders. Overruling the call, the near side official. Dominique Shaw unhappy with it. And the coaching staff on the William Penn side unhappy with the call as well. They'll have to stay disciplined. They're coming off of a game where they had 2 technical fouls late. Jawing at the officials there on that exchange. Beckmeyer near side finds Brayden Adams cutting to the rim. Passes out. Jalen Norman on the perimeter. He flies in. Corner for Adams. Three-point try. No good. Brewington on the rebound. And they'll hit him with a foul. That's Brewington's first. Getting some much-deserved playing time here in this one as Justin Washington picked up his third foul early in the half. It'll probably be under the 10-minute mark before Washington returns to the floor. Pass down low, intended for Michael Donaldson. Travels out of bounds, and now Luke Call will come in. Give Dylan Beckmeyer a break, and Chandler Lyon will come get Scott Blakesley. Brewington, Norman, Call, Lyon, and Adams on the floor for the Crusaders. Wheeler, Donaldson, Shaw, Thompson, and Carlton on the floor for the Statesmen. 13:35 to play. And now they'll hit Darius Wheeler with a foul. Off the ball. That's his second. It's the Statesman's fourth. Crusaders have hit 7 3-pointers in this contest. 8 rather. They only needed 7 for the Rib Crib 3-point promotion. The Crusaders make 7 3-pointers or more in the game, which they have. You get a $3 barbecue smokestack sandwich the next day at any participating Rib Crib. Just mention the Evangel Rib Crib 3-point contest at any area Rib Crib for your $3 barbecue smokestack sandwich. Into Brewington, he tries a three. Back iron, no good. Norman tracks down the rebound, and he finds Braden Adams on the clear out. Norman back with it in the corner. Crosses over, looks for Adams down low, and now a foul, I believe, on Brandon Trotter. That will be on Trotter. Now the Statesmen pick up their 5th, and they're nearing foul trouble. This is Trotter's first, however. He's the Statesman's leading scorer with 14 points, but he's had a rather quiet second half. Norman can't handle that pass, or he does rather. Lyon just about misses the point blank shot that gets the home court roll. And he cuts the deficit back to 7, and the Statesmen move so quickly back into their half-court offense. Down low to Donaldson, missed assignment, and it's back out to 9. Such a fit, physical Statesman squad. They get back on offense and they get back on defense. So tough to keep up with them. Pass the line in the lane. 2 Statesmen fly in. Count the shot. Lyon to the free throw line to try to cut it to 6. Give Chandler Lyon 5 points. 2 out of 4 shooting. And a chance to complete the old-fashioned 3-point play. Lyon misses the free throw. It's tracked down by Donaldson. It will remain a 7-point William Penn lead. Picking up the double team, Trotter far side, drives into the lane looking for Donaldson. He gets to the rim and converts strong over a Crusader defender. Such a high-flying offense, tough to stop them. And at times, an undersized Crusader squad continues to be out-rebounded by 15 boards, and they turn it over here. Trotter tries to move in transition, and he's fouled by Luke Call. That's the Crusaders' 5th. And now Marcus Miller will come in and give Brewington a rest. 1 more and the Crusaders would put, or 2 more rather, and the Crusaders would put the Statesmen in the bonus. "12 minutes to play in the game. It's a 9-point William Penn advantage. They've yet to lead by double digits in this game. As Terrell Thompson cuts to the rim and gets fouled. He'll have a couple free throws to try to do that. Terrell Thompson with 13 points. Just 5 out of 13 from the floor. 3 out of 4 from the free throw line, but the first one rattles out. Thompson misses both. A nice rebound by Chandler Lyon. And he's empty from the stripe. Jalen Norman goes coast to coast, too strong off the glass. And another rebound by the Statesman. Up ahead, Trotter, one-handed slam. And the Statesmen take their largest lead of the afternoon, 70-59. And we'll take a break. 70-59, William Penn lead. You're listening to Crusader Basketball on the Evangel Digital Network.
When was the last time you looked at Central Bank? We mean really looked at what's possible when you combine leading-edge technology with a bank who can make important decisions locally and who can help you turn what's possible into what's real. Take a new look at the world of possibilities with Central Bank. Strong roots, endless possibilities.
Nearing the midway point here in the second half, the Crusaders find themselves down by their largest deficit of the contest, 70-59, to the number 3 team in the country, William Penn, trying to advance to 12-1 on the year and get above 500 in the conference. The Crusaders lost 8 games this season, but that doesn't necessarily tell the story of the year so far. The Crusaders have lost 5 out of those 8 games by just 6 points or less. A very tough out this year at the Crusaders been, and they're holding tight with the number 3 team in the country, but that pass intended for Jalen Norman travels out of bounds. And now the turnovers for the Crusaders starting to pile up. That'll give them 9 thus far in the contest. Looks like William Penn may choose to slow the tempo down a little bit here, settle more into a half-court offense to try to work some time off the clock. That three-point attempt by Shaw won't find the bottom of the net. Marcus Miller cleans up the rebound. He gets it back at the top of the key. Norman far side. Now foul off the ball on Miller as he sends Javante Carlton to the floor. That's Marcus Miller's second. And as we near the midway point, you would think that Justin Washington may be coming back to the floor sometime soon with his squad down by 11. Pass down to Trotter, misses the free throw line jumper. Luke Call saves it from going out of bounds. And Adams tries to push the tempo. Tough to keep up with the Statesman. Norman near side wing. Dribbles to the top of the key. Adams finds Call in the corner with a three-pointer. Splash! And Luke Call cuts it back to single digits. The Statesman moving in transition quickly. Finding Carlton on the baseline and gets to the rim with ease. Gotta get back quick. Such good transition basketball. And now Dylan Beckmeyer's back to the scorer's table, waiting to check in. He's got a double-double with 11 points and 10 assists, but Luke Call with a second straight three-pointer cuts it back to 7, and he's keeping the Crusaders in this. Kick out, Shaw thinks about a 3, pump fake, gets in the lane, fingertip roll, and he's fouled. He'll head to the free throw line. Dominique Shaw came into the game averaging 20.8 points per contest. He's got just 11 so far this afternoon. A couple free throws coming up. The first one rattles out. Still a very good free throw shooter, shooting 74% on the season. Jalen Norman and Braden Adams will check out for the Crusaders, as well as Marcus Miller checking in. Justin Washington, Scott Blakesley, and Dylan Beckmeyer. They'll join Chandler Lyon and Luke Call on the floor. It's a 7-point Statesman lead, and it will stay a 7-point Statesman lead, as Shaw can't knock down his free throws. And Beckmeyer turns it over. In transition is Trotter. Hesitation at the rim. And he extends it back out to 9, and more unforced errors as the Crusaders now have 11 turnovers. That's 2 in the past minute. Or past the midway point in the half. And another turnover. Here's Trotter. In the lane, backs in, hands it off. And Dominique Shaw gets the bucket. And the Statesmen are now on a 4-0 run. Under 9 minutes to play. Call in the corner. He's guarded by Shaw. Beckmeyer in the lane, creates contact. Too strong off the glass. Washington with the offensive board, but can't put the basket in as he's fouled. He'll head to the free throw line. Still scoreless. It's Justin Washington, but he'll have a chance to get on the scoreboard here with a pair of free throws. Both teams in the bonus the rest of the way out with 8:43 to play. Statesmen equal to their largest lead of the contest, 76-65, but Washington trying to cut into it. And he misses the first free throw. Amazing that the Crusaders are still in this, being out-rebounded by 12, turning it over 12 times. And Washington with no points and missing both of those free throws. This is Darius Wheeler out in transition quickly. Make it Terrell Thompson. And the Statesmen up by 13, their largest lead of the game. Beckmeyer guarded by his number counterpart, Terrell Thompson. Floater in the lane, no good. And out in transition here is Trotter to the rim. One-handed slam. And the Statesmen are up by 15. And the Crusaders have to do something to slow this team down. And a full timeout coming up. Up by 15 of the Statesmen, the number 3 team in the country. Let's take a break. You're listening to Crusader Basketball.
When you want variety, you usually need to visit several places for bold flavors. Where they stuff your pretzel with 3 cheeses and roast beef. Or where smoked cheddar meets crispy bacon. Or where Italian meats and cheeses reign. Because when you want to try 7 new sandwiches with a range of unique flavors unlike anywhere else, there's only one place to go. It's the only place you'll find sandwiches like the Caprese and the Tuscan. And that place is Schlotzsky's.
Can you tell me what it means to be safe?
It means to protect yourself and know what to do.
What's something you do to stay safe?
I don't talk to strangers. I never, ever went out into the street, ever.
I always buckle up. I know when to call 911 during an emergency.
What about bicycle safety?
I wear my helmet when I ride a bike, so if you fall off, you don't get like a concussion or something wrong with your brain.
Tell me about CPR.
What does CPR mean?
And you push down on their chest like that to keep the blood going through their heart.
Tell me about fire safety.
If you hear that noise, that means fire. Call 911. You have to crawl because the smoke rises.
8:12 to play. The Crusaders find themselves down by the largest deficit of the afternoon, 80-65. Justin Washington, who is scoreless, stays scoreless, has been unable to will this Crusader team to keep close in this game as they've seen it slip away just a tad. Down by 15 with under 8 to play. Stepping into a three-pointers, Thompson. Can't find the bottom of the net. And Justin Washington with the rebound. Beckmeyer in the corner to Washington, in front of his bench, down to Luke Call. Hands it off to Washington, reverse layup, no good, and he'll head back to the free throw line, where he is 0 of 2 on the game. Washington came in averaging 15.9 points per game, 9.2 rebounds. He's scoreless and finally gets on the scoreboard with a made free throw there. Dominique Shaw checks back in, sending Javante Carlton to the bench. Statesman not been held under 90 points in a game this season. They're sit at 80 right now. They average 106.8 points per game. So Washington gets to the rim, is fouled again. I don't think the Statesmen will hit that number again tonight, 108.6 points per game. But the scoring is really starting to heat up, and they have attempted 63 shots in this game. They're on fire, shooting 55.5% from the floor. Washington back to the line. Makes the front end once more. Now Corbin Medley will check back in. He was on the bench with 4 fouls. He sends Michael Donaldson to the bench. Washington makes both this time. He now has 3 points. And it's a 12-point Statesman advantage. Got to play defense. The buckets will fall for the Crusaders, but you got to be able to stop this William Penn offense. And they have yet to be able to do that this afternoon as Thompson makes another easy layup as we near 7 minutes to play. Beckmeyer hands it off to Braden Adams. Now a bounce pass down to Scott Blakesley. 10 to shoot. Down low to Washington, and his pass is picked off. Over to Trotter. Back to Wheeler, who puts it off the glass and good. And the Statesmen now with their largest lead of the game, 16 points. Luke Call drives in the lane, now pulls back out. Looking down low to Washington on the baseline. Gives it to Blakesley, who has it stripped. Washington gets it back, 10 to shoot. Tries to put it right back up, and he's fouled. Now it'll go on Terrell Thompson, and Washington back to the free throw line. The Crusaders are in the double bonus now, rest of the way out. Washington has 3 points, all of which have come from the charity stripe. And he's now made 3 straight free throws. Washington sinks both, giving 5 points on the night, along with 4 rebounds and 2 assists. 6:15 to play, the Statesmen with a 14-point lead. Terrell Thompson slices in the lane, he's fouled hard, and he'll head back to the free throw line where he's just 3 out of 6. Is the Statesman's second leading scorer with 17 points and 6 rebounds. 7 out of 16 from the floor. And he makes the front end this time. Thompson came in shooting 71% from the free throw line, has not had his best game from the stripe tonight. Makes them both this time. He's now 5 out of 8 from the free throw line, and Jalen Norman will check in for the Crusaders and send Luke Call back to the bench. Call exits with 14 points, 3 rebounds, and 2 assists. Luke Call a perfect 4 out of 4 from 3-point range. And now we have a player down on the floor on the left side, I believe. That's Brandon Trotter, and that would be a big loss for the Statesmen. He's their leading scorer with 20 points and 9 rebounds. 9 out of 11 shooting. And not sure what the injury is. I believe he slipped there trying to head back down the court. He's held back up by the trainer. It looks like he'll be heading to the locker room. Thompson exits stage left. And that could be a big loss for the Statesmen, up by 16 with 6:08 to play. The Crusaders still very much in this game. They've got to get some stops on defense. This William Penn squad shooting 57% from the floor. Beckmeyer finds a cutting Braden Adams, who goes strong off the glass. Can't find the bottom of the rim. Washington foul on the floor. And they'll count the shot, it looks like. He'll head to the free throw line, try to complete the three-point play. And just like that, he's got 7 points. And now the officials will have a conference to decide whether that was a shooting foul or not. I didn't think it was. And now I think they'll head to the monitor near side here and check it out. So let's take a break while the officials look this over. It's 86-72, William Penn lead. You're listening to Crusaders basketball on the Evangel Digital Network.
How could I possibly be expected to go without Domino's on a day like this? Alexa, ask Domino's to place my easy order.
Ordering Domino's.
Life moves pretty fast. If you can't track your pizza, you could miss it.
Order 2 medium 2-topping pizzas for just $5.99 each and track them on your favorite device.
I've been waiting for days to come like this, better than ever before.
Looks like they're going to go with the call on the floor, count the shot. 1 free throw coming up for Justin Washington. He's got 7 points, looking for 8. Make it 8. Washington cuts into the William Penn lead. It's now a 13-point Statesman advantage. Both teams in the double bonus the rest of the way out. 5:45 to play. William Penn trying to advance to 2-1 on the conference, 12-1 overall. Crusaders are trying to work on their 2-game win streak. Dominique Shaw spins in, fake shot. And he's bailed out on a wild shot. That on Braden Adams, his 4th. And Shaw will head to the free throw line to shoot a couple. That'll actually be on Blakesley, pardon. Blakesley's 3rd. 2 free throws coming up for Shaw. He missed 2 straight on his previous trip to the line. That makes the first one there. Change in for the Statesman, Isaac Sanders. And for William Penn, Shaw makes both attempts this time, and it's a 15-point advantage. Washington sets the screen. Beckmeyer spins in, tries to go over 2 defenders, and he's bailed out. And he'll head to the free throw line to shoot 2. This basketball game could be extended for a while here at the end. Both teams in the double bonus shooting 2 free throws the rest of the way out on every foul. Beckmeyer makes the front end. And the second as well, a perfect 3 out of 3 from the free throw line. That's the William Penn lead, back to 13. The Statesmen trying to work time off the clock as we near the 5-minute to go mark here in the second half. It's Terrell Thompson, far side, being guarded by Jalen Norman. Dominique Shaw setting the screen. 8 to shoot. Thompson drives in. And where is the defense? Blows right by Jalen Norman. Norman back out. Norman hands it off to Adams, who loses the handle. Washington picks it up and slams it home. That'll put Washington into double digits. 10 points and 5 rebounds for the true freshman. Now William Penn trying to work as much time off the clock on each offensive possession. They're back to 90 points, scoring once more, and Terrell Thompson can't be stopped. A team high, game high, 23 points and 6 rebounds. Beckmeyer creates contact, floats in the lane. Got a rebound cleaned up by Isaac Sanders, and the Statesman working in transition here. Dominique Shaw slams it home. And just like that, the Statesmen go back ahead by 17. The Crusaders may be close to being out of this one if they can't get some points on the board in a hurry. Washington on the baseline, puts it off the glass and good, cut it back to 15. Statesmen are close to shooting 60% in this game, out rebounding the Crusaders by 13. It's tough to stay in a ball game when you let those things happen. We're under 3.5 to play. And Norman will hand the foul. That's his 4th. It'll be Terrell Thompson back to the free throw line, where he's 5 out of 8 tonight. That's the first there. Thompson shooting 71% from the free throw line this season. Makes both of his attempts here. Now Luke Call to check back in for the Crusaders. Pretty empty Ashcroft Center for an average conference game for the Crusaders tonight. Evangel coming off of one of their largest attended games of the year earlier in the week against College of the Ozarks, with 1,301 attendees made it to the Ashcroft Center for that game, and now a game where you have probably what will be the lowest attended game of the year, and another turnover for the Crusaders. Up ahead, the Medley, who puts that bucket in, give him 9 points. And the Statesmen, who are up by 19, nearing that century mark once again, have all but put this game away with under 3 minutes to play. Looking for Beckmeyer on the baseline. Behind the head pass to Braden Adams, who rattles home a 3. And Coach Jenkins will burn a timeout. Full timeout. We'll take a break. Stay with us. 2:45 to play. Crusaders down by 16. .245 to play. It's a 98-82 William Penn advantage. Crusaders have pretty much just been shot out of the gym in this game. Statesman's squad that's shooting 60% from the floor. Lob pass down low to Javante Carlton, and that would likely move the Statesmen up above 60% shooting. That was their 70th field goal attempted in the game. Beckmeyer, straightaway three-pointer, no good. And the rebound cleaned up by Dominique Shaw. And as the Statesmen hit the century mark, 100-82, that would just about all but put this game away. Terrell Thompson, leading scorer with 25 points, dribbles it around. 10 seconds to shoot. Thompson steps into a long two and hits it. Thompson nearing 30 points on the game. Statesman now shooting over 60% from the floor. Three-pointer by Adams, splash. And he'll cut it back to 17, but it may be too little too late. As from subs coming in for the Crusaders, on the far end, Nico Dominguez, Mark Bromberger, and Cameron Satterfield waiting to check in. Terrell Thompson is fouled. And that will send Corbin Medley to the free throw line. Medley with a make here would get him into double digits. Scoring, he would join 4 other Statesmen in double digit scoring. But he misses the front end. Now Isaac Blakesley, Nico Dominguez, Mark Bromberger, and Cameron Satterfield will check in for the Crusaders. They will join the lone man staying on the floor, and Jacob Smith. Medley makes the second half, giving him 10 points. And Nico Dominguez will be playing point guard. Mark Bromberger shovels it over. Smith, baseline, rejected at the rim. It's Satterfield who ends up with it. Now Dominguez, who thinks about a three, steps into it. Now Blakesley misses that one, back iron. Smith flies in for the board, jump hook. Irons the bottom of the basket. 16 points. The advantage for the Statesmen. We're under a minute to play. And they'll get out of here with a win. They'll advance to 12-1 on the season. They'll get over 500 in the conference, 2-1 in the Crusaders. 2-game winning streak will be snapped against the number 3 team in the country. Bromberger turns it over, gets to the rim, misses off the glass, but he's fouled hard. And Bromberger will head to the free throw line. Mark Bromberger has played just 1 minute this season, has yet to attempt a field goal or a free throw. He'll have 2 coming up here. And makes the front end. Mark Bromberger, the senior out of Crete, Nebraska, playing in his second season as a member of the men's basketball roster. The third season, rather. Playing off the bench. Makes a couple buckets there. 1 second differential between game clock and shot clock. The Statesmen will have to play out this possession. Last time the Crusaders had 100 points scored against them was the last time they played William Penn. December 3rd, 2016. William Penn put up 100 on the Crusaders. And they've done just that again tonight, scoring 103 points and a couple free throws coming up for Isaac Sanders. 4.1 seconds to play. Sanders makes it. Give the Statesmen a 15-point advantage. Another one. Makes it as well. And the Statesmen will score 105 on the Crusaders. Make it 105-89. The number 3 team in the country escapes with a victory. Crusaders leading scorer once again, Braden Adams with 19 points. Justin Washington and Dylan Beckmeyer, as well as Luke Call, joined him in double digits. Washington had 12 with 5 rebounds. Luke Call 14 with 3 rebounds. A perfect 4 out of 4 from three-point range. And Dylan Beckmeyer with 13 points, shooting 4 out of 15 from the floor. The game's leading scorer, Terrell Thompson, shot 15 out of 19 from the floor. 27 points, 6 rebounds, and 5 assists for the Statesmen. It's tough to beat a squad that shoots 58% from the floor and scores 105 points. That's just what the Statesmen did tonight, out-rebounding the Crusaders by 14 as Evangel turned the ball over 14 times. And any time you play a squad that is as talented, can run the ball in transition as much as this William Penn squad does, it is tough to escape with a victory. You cannot knock the way the Crusaders played in this matchup, left it all on the floor, but the game just did get away from them late. And they take a 105-89 loss to fall to 1-2 in the Heart of America Conference and 3-9 on the season. Take a look at what's coming up for the Crusaders. They will remain at home, although this was the final home conference game of the year. They will be taking on Sagu and Vanguard as part of the Assemblies of God Classic presented by DoubleTree Hotel here at the Ashcroft Center on December 29th and 30th, before traveling to Kansas City, Missouri on the 3rd to resume conference play and take on Avila. And they'll be back home on January 6th for a 4 o'clock matchup against Central Methodist. That'll do it for us here at the Ashcroft Center. I'm Brock Wilson. For everyone at Evangel Athletics and the Crusader Digital Network, thank you for listening. Have a good afternoon, and God bless.